All right, now we're going to go to rotating wrist legato. This is on page 9 of the elementary book. Both of them have rotated wrists, but let's do the elementary one so you can see where we start. Okay. All right. Now, this is what you would see if you go into the videos. Isn't that cool? You have to admit that's pretty cool. Okay, and I thank the students at George Mason for doing that. And this we made before GoPro was an everyday thing, you know? So we had a GoPro here, and a GoPro here, and then a regular camera overhead. So we have these 3 different things. Can you hear that? Because I do have another external speaker. Is that loud enough for you? Okay, all right. I just, another thing that I realized I had not put into place. Okay, so now that's it. That's what you would see. That's what your students would see. Because they can get these on their iPads, on their phones. I can't believe that. Okay, here we go. So now here I'm in that app, and I'm doing my book list. And palette of touches, intermediate only, and it's coming up, just letting you know. Well, here, let me do this. Okay, so then it has all of the different videos that you can get. All right, now, simple legato. Rotating wrist is the one that we always teach, that rotating legato. And you just saw her do that kind of legato. And now I'm going to show you simple legato, which is again elementary, page 13. And the difference between rotating and simple. Now what do I mean by simple? Simple means that you do not move your wrist around a lot. You're very relaxed with your wrist, but you're just there. It's just sort of playing like that. Now you notice that my fingers are not doing this. They're on the surface of the key and into the key, but we're not making much effort at all. Let me play that top one so you get an idea. That's wrist, then. See what I mean by? Purposely did not shake that because I wanted to show you simple. Okay, if I wanted to do rotated, it would sound like this. All right, okay, so now that is a different sound and a different way of approaching it. I had a disagreement with my editor, and they said, well, no, everything is rotated. You can't do anything without rotation. Well, hate to tell you. So what I wanted to show is how we can go from the rotated to the simple, and that's what's on the bottom here. First of all, I'm going to do this, and then you see how the direction says, play mezzo forte using rotated wrist at the base of the key. So I'm going to do that. See my rotating? I'm not going to do the whole thing, time-wise. Okay. Now, mezzo piano, same way. Halfway into the key. Or what did they say? 3/4. See, I'm getting to the bass. That's it. Okay, then the next one would be piano by reducing the rotation to a minimum and keeping it halfway into the key depth. I'm reducing the rotation to a minimum and halfway into the key depth. Okay? Hear it? Okay, that was halfway. You had heard what halfway sounded like before. Now, if you keep your hand relaxed and go double piano, and you get to the key surface, that's going to be your simple legato. Okay, now, well, why have that? Are you kidding? Now you don't have to worry about balance ever in your life again, okay? Because now, instead of, let me see if I have this on the next page. I may not. Oh, I do. Good, good, good. All right, so in here, see that top one? Right hand is rotated, left hand is simple, and this is what would happen. hand, quiet left hand. Okay, because now left hand is a simple legato, right hand is a rotated legato, and they understand that and know how to do it. Okay, so I solved your problem there. Next. Thank you. Okay, now we have legato, rotated, which everyone knows, and then simple, which may be new to you. Articulate, we know. We're trying to teach Bach. And here is where, yes, the fingers will go above the key. So with here we had rotating, we had simple. Now with articulate, we lift the fingers up, just like with Bach. Okay, so that you also do know. Here I'm going to play the exercise, which is in the book and on the video. Oh, you want to go? That's better. Okay, so you saw my fingers lifting, okay? But you could see that sometimes I was at the base of the key, sometimes I was halfway into the key. That was the dynamic level. Of course, and again, I can't remember if I have this as the next slide. I do! Oh, I'm so happy. All right, so now that would be, you know. So that is your articulate legato for Bach, definitely. If I did that rotated, it's the wrong style. All right, so now that your articulate is going to be stylistically correct for some things. So now you know how to do articulate. I think your students know how to do articulate. Sometimes they do articulate with a agreement, you know, it's really too loud and too tight. But this is a relaxed articulate. Okay. Now, we have learned rotating wrist, simple, and articulate, and here is the piece that we're teaching our student, okay? So now, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What should we put here to show them how to do this? I'm just going to play, I'm trying to not do any kind of a touch if possible, but. See, I didn't, that's sort of like beige, right? Okay, now, what do you suggest we do in the right hand first line? What kind of touch? Rotate. Rotate, okay. Left hand. Simple. Simple. Okay. All right, now I'm going to do the next slide. Anything different? Articulate. Oh. Okay, so now we're going to show what you just came up with. How did I know? All right, here we go. All right, so this is how you would write it on the page. Or your students would write it on the page if they make these decisions, which this is what I suggest you do. All right, so here we are. Could you tell the differences in touch? Would your students be able to tell the differences? Would they be able to know how to produce the differences? Yes, if they're listening. Right. Now there's the clue, and that's what we're trying to do. Get them to listen to this sound. That's why starting with that single note, then, wow, I didn't know that was like that. So now they're aware of just what these sounds are like. Okay, so now we go to the next one. Now we're actually into book 2. All right, because I think that's it for book 1 as far as your legato touches. I'm going to do the legato touches. So now in the intermediate we have flat finger legato. Dollars. Okay, so now think about Debussy. You know, think about those transparent kind of sounds that you want in Debussy. Do you want a round, beautiful round tone? No. You want something that is actually opaque. That is in the, I call it in the woodwork kind of a sound, okay? Now, here we go. Here's my student playing. So you're laterally moving the hand. And when students are looking at this and trying it at home, they can look at it over and over again to see how to do it. I think she does the exercise. Let me see. Yeah. So I'm not going to show you every single one. You can see that it takes time, but I wanted to show you, give you two examples of one from one book, one from another. And then this is what that exercise looks like. It's on page 21 of your intermediate book. And then you see what the flat finger marking is like. It's like a wavy kind of a line. Okay? And you're sure you can hear this okay? I don't need to put the other, all right, speaker. All right.
And if it was predominantly white keys, it would still be that same flat
it's
finger touch.
harder to do.
Yeah.
If you're doing impressionistic, you know it's going to be mostly black keys anyway. But think also, when we're thinking about, now I have this as intermediate because I feel as though the repertoire would be at that level. But how about all of those wonderful festival pieces? You know, the pagoda and clouds at midnight. And they're doing it in a pentatonic on black keys. Hello. Now, of course, the judge will say, your fingers were too flat. And then they'll say, well, I went to the Haroutounian. I know all about the advanced kind of touches. I don't think the judge would like that. But anyway, wouldn't that be cool? Don't you think students would like that? But only for those, only for those. All right. Now, caramel is just like a caramel. In other words, if anyone has a soft caramel and you pull it, and you know what that's like, you know, it gets stuck in your teeth. But that's so smooth that one goes into the next. I call it cheating, all right? Does that feel like a caramelly smoothness? Okay, so that's another legato, a caramel legato. And okay, anyway. Here we go. Okay. So now here is an example of a caramel legato. Did you hear it hold over? Okay. Now you can do it. I had pedal for the left hand, you can do that. So that's a perfect example. If I went, you know, instead of, what a difference that makes. Just that small fraction of a second makes a difference. And then, you just can feel how smooth and caramel that would be. Ah, there it is. I knew it better. Okay. So now I'm going to show you where this particular entrance of this Debussy piece, we've learned about the flat finger, right? And we've learned about all the other legatos now. So we're sort of putting it together, and I'm going to approach this. I'm going to approach it the way I teach it, all right? So I'm going to put the pedal down before I begin. And there's two ways of approaching this. I'm putting the pedal down before I begin, and I'm falling 3/4 into the key. You hear the colors? Okay. Now, that's the conservative way of doing it. I really push the envelope, and I sometimes have one pedal on the whole thing, okay? But I'm going to show you how I would mark this. Now, I'm going to play it this time with just one pedal across the entire first line. But notice I put the pedal down before I start, because I want that first note to already be within the pedal. In other words, I wanted to create that atmosphere within the pedal. I see editions where there's no pedal in the beginning. There's no pedal written on Debussy music, period, most of the time, unless you get a modern edited version, okay? So feel free to explore the pedal anytime you have Debussy, and Chopin, but definitely Debussy. Well, now that used that flat finger, as you saw, where everything was just on that surface and all those muted sounds were within each other. Okay. Now, this is does it have a page number? This would be the legato exercise. Actually, you have this in your handout. I just wanted to let you know. But I'm just showing you the difference between the elementary and the intermediate. Okay, and in your handout, after you have those charts, it will have these exercises because this is what I teach the students every day. This is what they do as part of their repertoire. I mean, part of their technique. Okay, so here, if we're doing elementary, and that was all rotated wrist. Now here, simple. Articulate. Could you hear the difference? Can they hear the difference? How long do you think that took? That's putting all of those together for the elementary students. What do you think? I should have had you kind of. It takes about 30 seconds. You could probably have them do 30 seconds of touch in your elementary kids after they do they love to do that. And they love hearing how to do that. So that's the exercise that puts all of those legato touches together.